Before we get started, a quick heads up. Today's video might challenge your perspective, so if you're not ready for this shift, it's best to leave now. For those sticking around, make sure to watch till the end. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene is a book that will change how you see the world. The reason this book caught my eye is that it's actually banned in prisons. But why? Because it claims to teach people how to master manipulation. Some people see it as a cult classic, while others think it's total nonsense. Naturally, I had to check it out for myself, and I'm here to share the best parts with you, so you can become more successful and powerful. Today, I'll break down 10 of these laws, explain how they work, and show you how to use them in a genuine and effective way. Let's get started. The first law we'll explore is, never put too much trust in friends. This one might sound a bit harsh, but it's all about understanding human nature and protecting your interests. Friends are great for hanging out and having fun, but when it comes to serious business, relying too heavily on them can be risky. Why? Because friends often come with their own set of expectations and emotional baggage. They might envy your success or feel entitled to special treatment, which can cloud their judgment and loyalty. When you're working with friends, it's harder to maintain a professional distance. This can lead to misunderstandings, mixed signals, and ultimately, betrayal. So, if you are a business owner, would you hire a friend? Sounds as a good idea, but here's a bold move. Consider hiring a former enemy instead. It might sound counterintuitive, but former enemies often have more to prove. They know they need to earn your trust, so they tend to be more loyal and dedicated. They want to show you that they can be valuable allies. Plus, there's usually less emotional baggage to deal with compared to friends. Think about it this way. When you work with friends, they might not always be honest about their feelings. They could hide their true intentions, making it hard for you to read them. On the other hand, with former enemies, the relationship is more straightforward. You both know where you stand, and there's a clear goal to work towards. Robert Greene points out that people love to think they've achieved things on their own. This means your friends might easily forget the favors you've done for them and start believing their success is solely due to their efforts. This can lead to resentment and a lack of appreciation for your help. And as we know, with friends it might get very personal very quickly. So keep friends for friendship and look for skilled, competent people to work with in professional settings. By doing this, you protect yourself from potential betrayals and maintain a clear, focused path toward your goals. It's not about being cynical. It's about being smart and strategic in choosing your allies. Now, let's talk about the power of silence as another key strategy. Always say less than necessary. In a world where everyone seems to be talking non-stop, the ability to stay silent can set you apart and give you a powerful edge. The more you say, the less impressive and in control you seem. When you talk too much, you run the risk of saying something foolish or revealing more than you intended. Powerful people often say very little. Their silence makes them seem impressive and intimidating because others can't guess what they're thinking. Think about it. In negotiations or interviews, the person who speaks less often holds the upper hand. By staying silent, you force the other person to fill the awkward gaps. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in their attempt to break it, they might reveal more than they intended. This can give you valuable information and a strategic advantage. Have you ever noticed that moment in a conversation when both people stop talking, and there's that strange, awkward silence? It feels uncomfortable, right? You feel this urge to say something, anything, to make it go away. Sometimes you might even say something unrelated or unnecessary, just to fill the silence. In a negotiation, this can be a critical mistake. By talking too much, you might give away your position or weaken your stance. Powerful negotiators know this. They make their point succinctly and then stay silent, letting the other person talk themselves into a corner. The key here is self-control. Pay attention to what you're saying and resist the urge to fill every silence. Let your words be few but impactful. This creates an aura of control and mystery around you. People will start to pay more attention to what you say because they know you don't waste words. Win through your actions, never through arguments. Alright, this one's a gem. Win through your actions, never through arguments. It's all about showing, not telling. Words can be powerful, but actions speak louder. When you demonstrate something rather than just talk about it, the impact is undeniable. Think of Michelangelo, the famous sculptor and architect. One day, while he was working on a sculpture, the arrogant city mayor walked in and said, "You've done a good job, but the nose is too big." Now, Michelangelo knew the nose was perfect. It was just the perspective from where the mayor was standing. But instead of arguing, he played it smart. He pretended to adjust the nose, making some dust fall, and then asked the mayor to take another look. The mayor, thinking Michelangelo had fixed it, said, "Yes, it looks great now." This story perfectly illustrates the power of actions over arguments. Michelangelo could have argued, but he chose to show instead. The result? The mayor was satisfied without any conflict or resentment. Arguments can create tension and resentment, even if you win them. But when you let your actions do the talking, you eliminate the potential for conflict and prove your point more effectively. In any situation, whether it's at work, in relationships, or in negotiations, remember that actions have a lasting impact. When you demonstrate your capabilities or the validity of your ideas through actions, people can't deny what they see. It becomes clear and undeniable. This approach also builds respect. People admire those who can back up their words with actions. It shows confidence and competence. Instead of getting caught up in debates and trying to convince others with words, focus on what you can do. Show your worth through your deeds. It not only avoids unnecessary arguments, but also leaves a stronger, more positive impression. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. While people often understand the abstract necessity of change, they are also creatures of habit who find comfort in the familiar. Sudden and extensive innovation can be traumatic, leading to resistance and opposition. When you are new to a position of power or attempting to build power, it's crucial to respect the established ways of doing things. Abrupt and sweeping changes can unsettle people and create enemies. Instead, present change as a gentle improvement of the past, making it seem like a natural progression rather than a radical overhaul. This strategy ensures that people remain comfortable and receptive to new ideas. For instance, if you take on a leadership role in a company, avoid immediately scrapping all existing processes. Instead, gradually introduce your new ideas while showing respect for the current methods. Highlight how your changes build upon and enhance the established ways, rather than replacing them entirely. This approach helps maintain stability and earns the trust and cooperation of those around you. Change is often met with resistance because it disrupts the status quo and creates uncertainty. People fear the unknown and cling to what they know. By introducing change incrementally, you minimize this fear and make the transition smoother. Each small change feels like a minor adjustment rather than a complete disruption, making it easier for people to accept and adapt. Also, connecting your new ideas with familiar concepts can be helpful. Present your changes as improvements or extensions of what people already know. This approach not only lowers resistance, but also lets you build on the credibility of existing practices to get support for your new ideas. The key to successful change management is finding the right balance between innovation and tradition. By advocating for change while honoring the past, you can introduce new ideas without alienating those who are comfortable with the old ways. This balanced approach ensures smoother transitions, reduces resistance, and boosts the chances of successful implementation. Never appear too perfect. Our next law warns against projecting an image of flawlessness. People tend to resent those who seem superior to them, and appearing too perfect can provoke envy and silent enemies. No one likes to feel inferior, and when someone appears to have no faults or weaknesses, it can create animosity and hostility. Envy is a powerful and destructive emotion. It often arises when people perceive that others are more successful, talented, or fortunate than they are. When you display perfection, you trigger feelings of inadequacy in others, which can lead to covert sabotage, resentment, and attempts to undermine your success. To mitigate this risk, it's smart to occasionally display defects or vulnerabilities. By showing that you are human and imperfect, you can deflect envy and reduce the likelihood of arousing hostility. This doesn't mean you should undermine your own credibility or competence, but rather reveal small, harmless flaws or mistakes that make you relatable and approachable. Balancing confidence with humility is crucial. Confidence is attractive and inspiring, but too much of it can come off as arrogance. Showcasing your successes and strengths is important, but so is acknowledging your journey, including the challenges and failures along the way. This balanced approach makes you more relatable and less likely to provoke envy. Next, never outshine the master. This one is all about understanding the power dynamics at play. When you're trying to impress your superiors, you need to be careful not to make them feel insecure. Showing off your talents too much can make them feel threatened, and that's never a good thing. Imagine you're 20 years old starting a new job. You have a team leader who's 40. After a few months, you realize you know more than your team leader and have great ideas for your team or department. It's tempting to show everyone how smart you are, but hold back a bit. Your team leader might smile and praise your ideas, but inside, they might feel threatened by your knowledge. People in power don't like feeling weak or overshadowed. Your superior knowledge can make them feel vulnerable. Even if they seem supportive, they might be looking for a chance to replace you with someone less threatening. It sounds harsh, but it's true. Maintaining their status is often more important to them than embracing new ideas. So, be smart about it. Know your limits. If you have a great idea, present it in a way that makes your superiors look good. Frame it as something that supports their vision. Make them look smart and capable, even if you know the idea came from you. This way, they won't see you as a threat. Think about that super smart classmate in school who always tried to show off in front of the teacher. They knew all the answers and constantly corrected the teacher. But often, they struggled to get good grades. Why? Because the teacher felt undermined. Plus, none of us liked them. So keep your brilliance in check. Play the long game. Make your superiors look good and support their position. This way, you'll secure your place and gain their trust. It's about being smart and understanding the power dynamics. This trick isn't about hiding your talents. It's about showing them wisely. Now, what about being the strong, silent type? Let's dive into that. Enter action with boldness. When you're unsure about your actions, hesitation can be your worst enemy. Doubts and indecisiveness can undermine your efforts and make you appear weak. Timidity is dangerous because it often leads to failure, or worse, inaction. If you're going to do something, do it with confidence and boldness. Boldness has a certain power to it. People admire those who are fearless and take decisive actions. Even if you make mistakes along the way, boldness can help you correct them. Boldness begets respect, and in many cases, it's better to act with confidence than to be timid and second-guess yourself. Consider the story of my friend who went for a job interview for a position he knew little about. Despite his lack of qualifications, he approached the interview with a can-do attitude. He admitted he didn't have all the answers, but promised to learn whatever was needed and become the best performer in the department. His boldness impressed the hiring manager, who later admitted that the main reason he got the job was his courage and confidence, not his qualifications. Most people in his position would have been too intimidated to even show up for the interview, but his boldness set him apart. This approach is applicable in many areas of life. When you act with boldness, you inspire confidence in others and yourself. You project a sense of certainty and determination that can carry you through challenging situations. On the flip side, timidity often leads to missed opportunities and regret. So, when faced with a decision or action, commit to it with all your energy. Embrace the potential for mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. Remember, bold actions can be corrected with more bold actions. The key is to keep moving forward with confidence. Next up is Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. This law is all about maintaining your power and composure by ignoring what you can't have. By acknowledging a problem or an unattainable goal, you give it existence and power over you. The more attention you pay to something you can't control or obtain, the stronger it becomes. A practical application of this is to ignore your enemies or detractors. By engaging with them, you validate their presence and give them influence over you. Instead, by ignoring them, you cancel them out, which often unsettles and infuriates them. They can't affect you if you don't acknowledge them. For instance, if there's something you want but can't have, simply disregard it. Show a lack of interest, and you'll seem more superior and composed. This principle applies to both personal desires and conflicts. When you don't engage with what you can't have, you maintain your dignity and control over the situation. Think of it this way. By ignoring a problem, you often avoid making it worse. Sometimes, problems become more visible and significant when you try to fix them. It's like when you try to cover up a small mistake, and in doing so, you draw more attention to it. Sometimes, it's best to leave things alone and let them fade into obscurity. Despise the free lunch. Moving on to Law 40, despise the free lunch. Free things are rarely ever truly free. There's often a hidden cost or obligation that comes with them. By paying for what you want, you maintain your independence and avoid the pitfalls of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. For example, when you wait in line for an hour to get a free product, you've paid with your time. Is your time really worth that free item? Or consider free shipping. It's never truly free. The cost is usually hidden in the price of the product. When you pay your own way, you stay clear of hidden traps. You owe nothing to anyone and can operate with full autonomy. This principle helps you stay in control of your choices and actions. Simply put, don't get easily fooled. Nothing in life is free. Everything comes with strings attached. Don't forget that. Next, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Now, let's talk about something equally important, avoiding the unhappy and unlucky. This might come off a bit strong, but it's crucial for your own well-being and success. Emotional states are infectious, and hanging around with people who are constantly unhappy or unlucky can drag you down too. You might think you're helping a friend or a colleague who's always in trouble or feeling down, but you could be speeding up your own disaster. Misery loves company, and the unfortunate often draw more misfortune to themselves. When you associate closely with these people, their negative energy can start to affect you. Imagine you have a friend who constantly breaks rules or gets into trouble with the law. You want to help, but every time you get involved, you find yourself getting dragged into their chaos. This is what Robert Greene warns about. By associating with the unhappy and unlucky, you risk becoming infected by their negativity. Instead, seek out the company of happy and fortunate people. Their positive energy is also infectious, but in a good way. Surrounding yourself with positive, successful individuals can uplift you, motivate you, and open up new opportunities. It's about creating an environment that fosters growth and positivity. This doesn't mean you should abandon friends in need, but you need to set boundaries. Help them, but don't let their negativity consume you. Protect your own emotional and mental well-being by keeping a healthy distance from those who bring constant drama or negativity into your life. Remember, it's not about being selfish. It's about self-preservation. Your environment and the people you surround yourself with play a significant role in your own success and happiness. So choose wisely and create a circle that supports and uplifts you. Our last law for today: avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Finally, let's talk about Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. When you follow in the footsteps of someone great, you'll always be compared to them, and the bar will be set incredibly high. To outshine them, you'll need to achieve double what they did. Imagine starting a new job where the previous employee was a star performer. People will naturally compare you to them and expect the same, if not better, results. This can be incredibly challenging and stressful. The best strategy is to carve out your own path and establish your own identity. Create a distinct approach so you're not directly compared to your predecessor. While it's important to learn from the past, don't let it define you. Innovate and bring your own strengths to the table. For example, if you're taking over a project from a highly successful colleague, don't try to replicate their methods exactly. Instead, bring in fresh ideas and perspectives. This way, you can create a unique value and distinguish yourself. There you have it, everyone. These aren't just tricks for manipulation. They're strategies to navigate life and work smarter. Let's chat in the comments. Which laws do you find useful? Have you tried any? If you found this helpful, please subscribe. It helps me bring you more exciting content. Thanks for watching. Stay smart, stay powerful, and keep mastering the game of life. Catch you in the next video.